All right, it says we are live. Do me a favor, you guys. Give me a second. I'm going to check because sometimes this thing's be acting up, and I just don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Good thing I'm not going to use anything with audio today. So I am hoping that things work out to my benefit. Just give me 1 second here. Should tell me if I'm alive yet, and it doesn't. So we will do a double take here. Oh man. So how are you guys today? It's Saturday. A lot of stuff is going on. Please forgive me for the simple fact that I got a flu shot the other day. If you guys can hear me, give me a 1 in the chat if you could hear me. I got a flu shot about 3 weeks ago, and it finally manifested itself. And I caught the flu really bad. Long story short, when I was in the military, you have to take a flu shot. So when I got out of the military, I stopped taking a flu shot for 10 years. And then my system got compromised. And now I've got to take the flu shot or bad things can happen to me, right? Very scary stuff. Not advocating anybody to get immunizations and things like that, but it is. Okay, so great. You guys can hear me. Awesome. Because it's not showing up on my phone. I'm like, I can't verify if you guys can hear me or not. I mean, there's only like 2 or 3 people that ever watched my show. So thank you guys for tuning in this evening. Please forgive me, my sound, if I start coughing. I'm just getting over the flu. The bad part is done. I just got to finish sweating all the rest of the stuff out. But welcome to the show. My name is Donovan Saadiq. I am the recovering Democrat, also known as the Inland Empire Informer locally. And if you guys have not heard, the California reparations bill that took 4 years of study and some decent recommendations were in there. 4 years of study, decent recommendations, $5 million plus of our tax dollars to study this thing and get it to the floor, which we did not get a vote, was signed into law today, or not today, I think it was Friday, by Governor Gavin Newsom. And I'm going to go over with you guys a little bit about what was in that bill. I am here in Riverside, the 60th Assembly District of California, and my assembly member, his name is Corey Jackson. Known this piece of crap for a long time in politics. He happened to luck into the assembly job. And he is one of many CBC members that need to be voted out of office for the evident fact that they did not go up there and do the work. We could sit here and complain about all the other groups we want, but when their people have a bill that's going to benefit their people, they get it done. Not our people. No, we're in the symbolism. We still think this black woman is this black Indian is a black American because she went to Howard. Oh, but her daddy's Jamaican. That's a nationality. All this stuff is coming out. So thank you guys for joining me. Let me give you guys some shout outs here. Daryl Jinx, 1970. Welcome. Kerman Wingfield. Welcome back, you guys. Please do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe. There's another video I did earlier, and I'll put that up a little bit later. So if you guys go to the channel, you guys can find it. So what I want to do right now is I am going to share a little something with you guys. Okay. All right. Governor Newsom signs California Legislative Black Caucus priority bills, including a formal bipartisan apology for the state's role in slavery. This is the type of bullshit that they bring down to us. For 2 years of working in this legislative cycle, this is the work that they've done to deliver to us an apology. How is an apology going to feed my family? How is an apology going to make me pay my rent? Have you guys seen the insurance rates in California, or really across the nation? These migrants are basically running around here. These illegal migrants are running around here, driving cars and just getting in wrecks. This is one of the contributing factors of why our insurance across the nation is going up, because these people don't know how to drive. How do you give people, let them buy cars? It's just crazy. You give them driver's license, then they're going to want to vote. I mean, it's just messed up, and we have to pay the price. But again, how does a formal apology help me pay my bills? My rent is due, my mortgage is due, my student loans are due, my kids are hungry. I mean, this is what they do to Black people. Our own people do the heavy lifting and the racial ambiguity to their own people in the name of the white masters. And what's really sad is you've got Black women. This is why I don't believe in Black women leadership. And it's not because there isn't strong women leaders out there. There are strong women leaders out there. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter, male or female. I'll just stay with my own kind. That's me, Donovan, speaking for myself. Nothing against women. I'm very sure there are great women that are leaders. They just can't lead me. That's just not going to happen. You know, I rather, at least if I dealt with a man, I could slap him up and we can go outside and knuckle up and handle it like men at the end of the day. But every time there's a woman up there, it doesn't make sense. You're the backbone of the Democratic Party, Black women. That's what they told you. And you can't deliver anything to us but an apology. It's very sad. Very, very sad. So you guys got smartphones. You guys can really read up on this. But basically, joined by the members of the California Legislative Black Caucus, Gavin Newsom signed a series of bills. These bills are the bills for reparations. And I talked to my assembly member's communication guy, and he was blowing smoke up my ass like I was a voter that pays attention every 4 years, when he knows I am locally involved in politics daily and I have power. That's why they do not like these videos that I do. And I'm very feared in my neighborhood. And I really strongly recommend you guys to go to your city council meetings, get active, because we are in a bad situation, Black people. And I called this years ago. And if you've been watching the Demetra K show with us, and you'll see Demetra and I argue and argue and argue and argue, right? Because we don't believe the numbers, or, you know, she don't agree with it. I hate to say that I'm right, but the fact of the matter is, if Black people were doing so great as we claimed, why are there so many of us homeless? And I'm going to particularly talk about the state of California. There are more homeless Black females and children, unhoused, homeless, whatever you want to call them, than any other group of people in California. How could that be if illegal migrants just get here? Why are Black people in California the most unhoused? And they've been born in this country, but you have illegals that are here that don't even have to worry about being homeless. Make that make sense? This is why I used to say on the show, 70% of Black people are below the poverty level, at the poverty level, or just above it. And when I was saying that was, as long as we hover, the majority of us hover near that poverty level, it's going to take one catastrophic thing, and it's going to be catastrophic for us as a people. And we've seen it start to happen. So again, differences of opinion, but I would like to think that I was right. So let me read this for you guys before I get back to you guys' comments. As requested by AB 3089, the Jones Sawyer, which passes legislature with bipartisan unanimous support, the governor also signed an accompanying formal apology for California's historic role in the perpetuation, I don't know, my tongue can't do it, of slavery and its enduring legacy. So for a lot of people that don't know their history, this is George, by the way, he does not listen. A lot of people think, especially for those of you guys that don't know, there is a anti-reparations coalition in California that's supposedly formed by Asians and Hispanics that feel that they should not have to pay for reparations because they had nothing to do with it. So why should I have to pay for illegal immigration when I have nothing to do with that? You can't become a part of a country and not have to endure what the country has to endure. Any bill that is due by that country has to be paid for by all of its citizens. So you just can't come here and enjoy the good stuff and ignore the stuff that is bad. Black people who are at the bottom of this economic scale, taxes are being taken from us and resources are being taken from us to house illegal immigrants and any other issues that come up because we're citizens of this country. So a lot of people think that, you know, there's actually a coalition of Asian and Hispanics supposedly that don't want Black people to have reparations. It's us against the world. And I've been saying that from day one. A lot of people see the world the way it should be, but they don't see the world the way it is. And that's the difference between me and myself and others. When I talk, I make it plain like I'm Malcolm X so you can understand it. I don't do all these fantastic numbers or anything like that. I want you guys to understand the dire consequences that we are in. So we got an apology for $5 million plus tax dollars spent to their buddies. They gave this money to their buddies that they put on the board and stuff. Didn't Bill Clinton give us a federal apology in regards to slavery back in the 90s? So why do we need one now? So here's my piece of shit assembly member, Corey Jackson, and the whole CBC members here. They're all pieces of shit. They all need to be put out of office. And we got to tell these people we mean business. Okay. This is Gavin Newsom's statement. I'm going to try to go through this really fast. And, you know, they keep blowing smoke up our asses. And again, when the Asians got their bill, was there a study? There was no study. They just gave them the money and a bill plus the money. When the migrants get here, illegal migrants get here and break our laws, they get housing, food vouchers, all the support they need. But they came here illegally. We're the only group of people in this country that came here involuntarily. And yet we cannot get a bill that is due us. These are all delay tactics. Delay. So let's go over some of the stuff in the bill that they call a reparations bill. And I just want to say to our civil rights era folks, you guys really need to wake up and stop with the symbolism, because you guys are a big part of the problem. So overview of key bills. Addressing food and medical deserts. Requires grocery stores and pharmacies to provide advance notice to the community and workers before closures, helping to address food deserts that disproportionately affect communities of color. See, this is what I'm saying. They call it a reparations bill, but it includes everybody. Where is the bill that specifically addresses ADOS, descendant of slaves, communities of color? Could be anybody, anything. Asian, Hispanic, Armenian, blah, 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 blah. African. We're talking descendants of slaves. Do you see how they do this stuff? And then they want to disguise it as reparations for everybody. Just like affirmative action was supposed to be specific to Black people in the United States, somehow it became everybody except Black. Okay. So addressing food deserts, how does that help me if a government can't sanction a store to stay open? So how does that help the Black community? If a store is going to close down, it's going to close down. Look what's going on in Oakland. Symbolism. Strengthening protections against discrimination. Akila Weber, piece of shit from San Diego, clarifies that race includes traits associated with race, such as hair texture, protective hairstyles, providing stronger protections against discrimination. You could be Indian and have Afro hair. You could be Asian and have a sort of textured type of hair. You could be white and have just straight hair. So this is another everybody bill. Where's the bill that's specific to Black people? But see how they turn everything that's supposed to be for us, and which is symbolism, into something that can benefit everybody. Combating maternal health disparities requires hospitals to report compliance information and authorizes the Attorney General to enforce against hospitals that are out of compliance with existing law, requiring prenatal healthcare workers to complete anti-bias training. Don't they already have that law? It's kind of like Kamala saying she's going to do a federal price gouging thing. Why would a president worry about something that at the state level, the Attorney General is supposed to be in charge of? It's all word salad. Increasing access literature in prisons. Wouldn't that benefit everybody? Wouldn't that benefit everybody? If I'm in prison, you're Black, I'm white, Mexican, whatever. Hey, we're all in prison. We all benefit. Formally apologizing for slavery, something that Bill Clinton did in the 1990s. How does that put food in my stomach? How does that put money in my pocket? Affirms California recognition of the harms caused by chattel slavery and issues a formal apology, which will be memorialized with a plaque in the state capitol. Don't you Negroes feel better now? Everybody else gets money, they get support, they get all of these things. But you Negroes, we're just going to give you an apology and a plaque. Don't you feel better? Don't you feel better about yourself? Yeah, that's what you get. That's what 5 million plus tax dollars got Black people. So they take this whole thing, they put it together, and they call it a reparations bill that most everybody can benefit from. And we know from history that, and when an everybody bill comes into it, the least likely to benefit is Black people. So yeah, this is what they've spent the last 4 years doing. Playing these games to garner votes. It's another ploy that the Democrats use to galvanize Black people to vote for them in the hope that the reparations bill will have some substance in it. None of this has substance in it. And every last one of these California CBC members needs not to be reelected. And if you guys are watching this broadcast from outside the state of California, this is telling you exactly the Democratic policy on the national level. California is a supermajority. What does the Democrats keep telling you every time they don't do the promises that they promise Black people? As a matter of fact, Joe Biden is about to leave office. And when he came into office, he said, we stood by him, he's going to stand by us. Has Joe Biden kept any of the promises to Black people that he said he would do? Much less to just young people and people in general. Did he ever do the student loan thing, which he could have done by executive order? He never did it. The only way these people will understand that we mean business is that they're one term and they're done. They are not doing the work. They have to go. But before I break this down, because I can't see you guys comments right now, so please bear with me. Oh my goodness. Bear with me right here. I'm going to give you guys the definition of what reparations is supposed to be. And this is by the World Court. It has been defined by the World Court. Now, I want you guys also to understand that a precedent in the United States has already been set by cash payment. If I got cash payment, if I need a house, I can buy a house. If I need a education, I can buy an education. If I need a car, I can buy a car. If I need an operation, I can buy my own operation. I'm a fairly educated guy, so giving me free education, that doesn't benefit me, and you deny me my reparations. Remember, the Civil War ended 160 years ago. So slavery is only about 4 generations back. It's not that long ago. My grandfather, who recently died this year at 100 years old, his grandfather would have been a slave. They try to make it seem like it's 300-400 years ago, but it's not. And it's a bill that is owed. So this is the definition by, according to the International Court of Justice, the World Court. Reparations, the definition, refers to the measure taken to redress violations of international law by providing compensation, restitution, rehabilitation, satisfaction, or other forms of remedy to victims of human rights abuses or serious violations of international humanitarian law, with the goal of restoring them as much as possible to their situation before the harm occurred. Essentially, it is the legal obligation of a responsible party, the United States, to make amends for damage caused to a victim. So if you migrated to the United States here from the Caribbean or wherever you came from Africa, whatever, your redress for reparations isn't with the United States. It's with Germany, Britain, France, whoever colonized your country. My redress is with the United States. So if Black people are 14% of the population, and these are people that identify as Black, you would have to cut that in half. And that is really not a lot of money. So 7%, maybe 8% of people who identify as Black actually are descendant of slaves. So pay them, get them paid. And in 1980, when the Asians got compensated for Manzanar and the internment camps during World War II, their descendants were also compensated if the initial victim was departed. So they were back then, I think they were given $40,000 each. They didn't give the Asians, Ameri-Asians, and I remember I read that story. That's why I know the word Manzanar. They didn't give them, and I don't want to be stereotypical because I was raised in Asia. They didn't give them, cleaners and said, "Hey, we did you wrong. Here's a cleaning store. You can open up your own, cleaning store, dry cleaning store." You know what I mean? They didn't do that. They gave them cash and said, "Here's the money. Do what it is you got to do." And what did they do with that money? They opened up businesses. Some of them went to school. Some of them became lawyers. Some of them, bought houses. They compensated them. And so that is set in law and precedent in law in the United States. Every group has been given cash. Black people, zero and an apology. This is where we're at. So I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. Sorry about it took me so long there to do that. So that's the story of the reparations bill here in California. Hey, Cooking with Miss D, how are you? How are you? Yeah, Kerman Wingfield says my car insurance is sky high. Yeah, because these, you want to know what's scary, Kerman? Here in California, the insurance is so high, people just said, fuck it. And they're just driving without it. They're just going to take their chances. I've seen tags, people's car tags that are 2 years old. And they're just riding around, just F it. They're just, what can you do? I mean, they're not making the money. And you know what the sad thing is? I bet you a lot of those people are still going to vote Democrat. They're still going to vote Democrat, which is sad. Cooking with Miss D says they are playing in our face without giving us shit. Exactly. Them folks treat us like dogs, and we have to stand for something or fall for anything. And and the sad thing is, I don't mean any ill will toward anybody. As long as there's a civil rights generation running around and that are bitter and whatever because they can't be young forever, and they didn't change the world with music, sweet music, all that revolution that they were doing back in the day, young and strong. We're going to do this and do all this stuff. Hey, you got to sell out for a golf membership. That's what happened. I mean, they're just doing it. I'm not saying all of them, but what I'm saying is until a good majority of those people are gone, it's not going to change. Did you guys see the Eric Adams reply when he was replying to the indictment that he got, and that 92-year-old woman and the black clergy that stood behind this man? I mean, I don't know if the man's innocent or guilty. That's neither here nor there. But the point is, if this is our leadership that keeps telling us, well, we're going to stay behind him until, it is what it is. This is a man that brought in migrants to the community that affects Black people, but we're going to stand behind him. Forget his crimes. We know what his crime is. I believe Eric Adams' crime is he spoke out against the Democratic Party in regards to the immigration and how it's going to destroy New York City. Because everybody was getting their beak wet. Everybody does get their beak wet. But did you see the 92-year-old lady that they bring out? She obviously isn't in her right, she's in cognitive decline. I can't say in the right mind. She's in cognitive decline. And she's just blackface in a high place. That's what the civil rights generation wanted. That's what they fought for. They wanted inclusion of seeing their faces in high places. And this is where this woman comes from. That type of generation. And I wouldn't really call her a civil rights generation. She would be more of Maxine Waters, a silent generation. Why is she still somebody that you would look to for leadership at 92 years old? Why is it only in the Black community? And I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve respect, but why are you going to drag out a 92-year-old woman like she knows what the hell is going on in the 21st century? And it's just sad. And it's sad. When they did that, I really, really I was disgusted. I was disgusted when I saw that. Hold on, I'm going to get rid of this here. And hold on here, get this out of here. Stop screen sharing. There we go. But I was disgusted. And did you see all the clergy that was behind him? This is the problem in the Black community. And this is why more and more young Black people are turned off by the church. And we have all of this immorality, or whatever you want to call it, happening in the community. People are just, there's no guidance. There's no Martin Luther Kings anymore. Everybody's there to pad their pockets and get their beak wet. Yeah. Jay the Informant. Yeah, if she was wise, I would listen. I didn't see wisdom. I saw nonsense. That's exactly what I saw, nonsense. She's telling us We need to stand behind this man when it doesn't take too much common sense. All you got to use is your common sense. If you guys have ever been on jury duty, all they ask you to do is use your common sense. 1 + 1 is 2. It doesn't take a genius to see that Eric Adams is a piece of shit, and he's been a piece of shit for a very long time. And he's willing to do whatever he needs to do to get his butter biscuits. You explain to me how Eric Adams is worth over $10 million. Where is he getting that money from? Borough presidents don't make $10 million in an 8-year period. Yeah, Cooking with Miss D, that's what I'm saying. Your common sense is, it doesn't take common sense to know this man sold his people out. And you got to pay the price for what you're willing to do. It just is what it is. You play stupid games, you receive stupid prizes. So this is where we're at here in California. And I want you guys to understand, especially if you don't live in California, please like and share this on your platforms. We are a super democratic state. What does that mean? It doesn't matter what the governor does. It doesn't matter what the Republicans vote. Anything the Democrats want here will pass. It's done. So I want you guys to look at California and ask yourself this. Wait a minute. You have a supermajority legislator in the Assembly and in the Senate. So let me break it down for you guys. So in the House and in the Senate here in California, you have a Democratic governor. Why didn't we get reparations? We didn't even get a vote. And they don't want to give us a vote just the same way as Nancy Pelosi did not want to bring the HR 40 to the floor, because that would expose those Democrats who are against reparations. If California cannot pass reparations, what does the National Democrats say? Well, we can't get nothing done because there's not enough Democrats. We got to vote more Democrats into office. Oh, really? Explain what happened in California. So when somebody tells you that, and when you go to your council members meeting or your assembly meeting or your congressman's meeting, and they keep telling you, well, we can't get this done because we don't have enough Democrats, ask them to explain California. Ask them to explain that. We had a Democratic governor. We own the whole thing. It's all Democrat. And blacks did not get a reparations bill. We got an apology and a plaque. But be illegal, $2.2 billion in free health care for illegal aliens that have come into the state. But again, some of you guys that have been freaking out because of this immigration and how it eats up your resources, I want you guys to understand this. Look at California and what happened here, the gentrification. This is what's happening in your city. They are going to make you politically irrelevant. And who's going to help them do that? Are these black bootlicks like we have here in California. I'm not saying don't vote for your people, but if they don't do the work, it's one and done. And get them out of there. And get them out of there. I don't want to scare you guys, but look at California. Look at it. They gentrified black people out of here. You can't afford it here. I'm here because I made some decent decisions. Okay, that's a totally different thing. I moved back into my family home. So my situation is a little bit different. I don't want to keep buying, homes and being in debt forever. This is the home that I live in is the very first home my mom bought after my father died. And it just so happens I retired at the base. I was here. I was like, well, should I go buy another house or should I go live overseas? I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I said, you know what? it makes sense just to go live in the house that my mom bought in California, right? So for me, it worked out. But what I say is, look at California is when you were talking to these hardcore MAGA blue Democrats, right? I want you to look them in the eye and say, do you want to see what Democratic policy does to a state? Look at California. Do you want to see what Democratic policy does to Black people? Look at California. They put a $6 billion stadium smack dab in the Black neighborhood to where Black people that are still there, barely holding on, can't even afford a ticket to go. And now it's happening to you guys. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you guys don't learn from what happened to us, it's going to be too late. Well, it's going to be too late for you guys. You guys got to go to those city council meetings. You have to make a stand. I mean, why didn't they put the stadium in Beverly Hills, near Beverly Hills, so the rich people could go see their little games or whatever? No, they put it right in the poor Black area. Inglewood, put it right there in the Black neighborhood. Move the people out, public domain, the homes, moved them out, and it's been a wrap. So when you're talking to people, I want you to look at what Democratic policy does to Black people. We have a bunch of Democrats. We have a supermajority. We have everything they say that they need so that we can get bills to help us. Look what it did. Nothing. It does nothing for Black people. So what I'm trying to tell you is voting Democrat is not going to help you. It's not. It's not going to help you. They don't respect you. They don't respect us. It doesn't help. So what's the answer? Be a Republican? No, that's not the answer. The answer is we have to start relying on ourselves. Politics is about money and power. That's it. The Democrats cannot win elections without a 90% Black turnout. Kamala Harris is polling at 77% Black vote. You guys think she's going to win? Just by the Black vote. And that's Democratic pollsters saying this. They need at least 90% of Black people voting Democrat. Right now, she's polling at 77. She can't win. Now, let's think about 2016. They said Hillary was so far ahead in the polls. Right now, they're saying it's neck and neck. Do you guys actually believe that? I just want you guys to look at the media. Look at the media other than Fox. Have you ever seen media that is supposed to be non-biased? They're supposed to be like in the middle. They're actually campaigning for Kamala Harris. Have you guys seen that? They're campaigning basically for her. Ask yourself why. What's in it for them? Because they're owned by the Democratic Party. So I want you guys to really, I mean, I live here in California, and I'm telling you, I feel it every day. My neighborhood, for me to communicate with my neighbors, I had to learn Spanish. They don't want to learn English. They want to, they're comfortable learning their language. I have to learn Spanish. But what I want to tell you guys is Democratic policy is bullshit. It does not work for Black people. Republican policy does not work for Black people. Politics is about money and power. So if we sat out a bunch of elections, they'll come running, and maybe we could use that leverage that they need to get what we want. But again, they're replacing us anyway. In California, a Black voter means nothing now. We have no political voice at all. That's a fact. That's a fact. Some of you guys that have visited California the last couple of years, oh, the homeless there and the lawlessness and stuff. It's horrible out here. This is Democratic policy. And now it's coming to your town. And all you got to do if you want to stop it is look what happened to California and make sure it doesn't happen to your town. Just start saying no, cut off the money, do what you got to do, pull the sanctuary status, whatever you got to do. So I don't know what more I need to say at this point, because for Black people in California, if you ain't got the money, you ain't staying here. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if you do stay here, you're going to be walking around looking for other people that look like you. And if you don't speak Spanish, you're in a world of hurt. Thunder says, hello, everyone. Ashley Barber says, Trump 2024. I'm voting for Trump as a punitive action. Like I said, look, I know people are like, well, why would you vote? If you say both parties or not like that. Look, I'm one of those people. If I'm going to go down with the ship, I'm going to go down with both fingers blazing. That's my parting shot to the Democratic Party. Okay. And I want you to think about this too. Kamala Harris is a California politician. Think about that. Let's see. I'm sorry, I lost my spot there. Ooh, dang. You guys jumped on my stuff. Okay. Here we go. Yes, he went full Black in that conference. Yep. Jerry Early says B1, Big Island, Hawaii. Right. Dutch slave trade, wild, like a Dick Tracy comic. I saw nothing but Black folks in the backgrounds. Yep. The more and T2 says, the more and more I'm seeing the Dems are the problem, the albatross around Black Americans' neck. Yes, we have nothing to show for 60 plus years of voting Dems. This election is the make or break for us. Exactly. This is why I've been in recovery. I mean, I didn't change my party until I left the military in 2012. And then when I got out of the military, which is that's a whole different world in itself. You're in a different world. I get out of the military after 24 years and I'm seeing my people in a worse position than when I went in. And that's when I was like, what's going on here? Dutch slave search, sad business. Jay the informant, yeah, the illusion of power. If she was wise, I would listen. I didn't, yeah, okay. Cooking with Misty, I don't feel sorry for Eric. He sold his people out. She says facts. Beeson 17 says fake apology unacceptable. Ashley Barber, hello Donovan, hello Miss Ashley. The Cooking with Miss D, the Boulay. Dutch slave trade, they're coming hard in Oakland. I'm telling you, man, it is. And what's crazy about this, you guys, and I just want to emphasize this. As long as California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas was getting the brunt of the illegal immigration, and we were telling you guys, oh my God, yeah, that's racist. Y'all gotta let those people in. All that liberal stuff. It's easy to say that when it isn't in your neighborhood. But now you guys are getting a taste. And Hot Wheels Abbott, the governor of Texas, brilliant. They should have done this 40 years ago. If we had done this 40 years ago and shipped the pain to all the other states, I don't think our immigration policy would be the way it is today with the open border and all these liberals opening the border and stuff like that. I was watching a show today in this town in Pennsylvania that's been overrun by a bunch of Haitians and stuff. And just the good old boys, never meaning no harm, been entrusted with the law. You guys know the song, right? They've had enough. And I think what's going to happen, and I've been telling my sisters that are leading their families by themselves to arm themselves, because dad is 2 cities away. Rufus, your boyfriend, you guys are off and on, so there's no guarantee he's going to be there in a few minutes. When you've got these groups running around here, and you guys heard the report today or yesterday of the killers and the sexual assault people that they've let into the United States that they can't find. This is Democratic policy. But in this town in Pennsylvania, they've had enough. They've had enough. And if a certain person does not win, and even if that person does win, these people are ready to help get these people up out of here, if you know what I mean. Thunder, Trump, yep. Benson says, as Pelosi said, don't promise them nothing, right? This is the time to disrupt the ballot, exactly. Ashley says Trump will win. I have no doubt Trump will win. People are delusional if they think. You know what, Ashley? What's really embarrassing? My son went to a HBCU. A lot of money was paid for him to go to a HBCU. He's a fairly intelligent kid, got his master's degree. I just have a bachelor's. I'm very proud of him. I got a niece, went to Spelman, got her bachelor's degree. Very proud of her. But this woman went to Howard. Let's take away everything that there is to it. I'm a college graduate. Now, I know I say a lot of ums and stuff like that, but that's because I'm not in a formal capacity. When I'm formally ready to talk, I know how to talk, because the military makes you do that. As an officer, they make you do that stuff. But this woman, what I'm saying, and this is just my opinion, if this woman is a Howard graduate, not only did she sleep her way to number 2 in the world, I think she slept her way to a degree, a couple of degrees. You know what I mean? Because an educated person can talk. Speech is part of that curriculum somewhere along there. Even if you're getting your master's, you have to do a dissertation. So this woman something's wrong. And I've always said this, be it you're a male, or be it you're a female. If you are using your bedroom skills to advance your career, there's a ceiling to that. Eventually, you're going to have to perform. And at 60 years old now, she isn't that cute little boo thing she used to be. It's time to perform. And this is embarrassing. If I was an HBCU graduate, I would be embarrassed that this is the Vice President of the United States, possibly the president, could be the president of the United States, and she cannot talk. She cannot answer questions. I would be totally embarrassed. This is why, no offense to my HBCU friends and family, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I wouldn't be telling people I graduated from an HBCU. That's just my opinion right now. So, yeah, the media is lying. Zero objectivity. Michael, Donovan, only third parties can benefit Black American freedmen of chattel slavery. Yeah, not really. I don't know. This country has been raised on racism and stuff. And let's say a Green Party candidate wins, right? Right, Michael? I'm with you. Let's say they win. Everybody votes for the Green Party candidate. You still got the Democrats and the Republicans to deal with. And guess what? They would block everything the Green Party would want, because there's not enough people in the legislative body to pass any laws that's going to be beneficial. So I don't agree that the Green Party is the answer for Black people. Yeah, cooking with you, we have no leverage. Ashley Barber praying for California. Michael Pan, California is like going to a foreign country. California is a bilingual state. It is. Well, not really. It's mostly Spanish. Let's see. You guys are talking. Skin folks ain't kin folks. Cooking with Miss D. What other recourse do we have besides the things you just mentioned? Exactly. I'm not saying give up. I'm saying we have to show these pastors and these so-called servants of ours, you ain't doing the work, you got to go. You're not staying. Cori Bush just got a taste of that. All of that. I'm for everybody, whatever. Hey, your district elected you. Your district elected you. Now you got to go. You didn't do nothing for the district. You got to go. So we've got to follow that. Donovan, what was it like for your people before you left the military? Let's see. pretty much like it is today. Crap at the bottom. You guys remember Reaganomics? See, I don't know if you remember, a lot of people in my community, we remember that free government cheese. We remember that type of stuff, the food stamps and Reagan cutting the food stamps and all this other stuff. We have always been socially at the bottom of this economic system. That's why when I look at other Black people, I'm like, where do you think you're from? Not saying we all started poor. I know I did. My parents came from abject poverty. It took the military to pull my parents up to give me an opportunity, my brother and I an opportunity. Yeah, Cook Miss D, civil unrest is going to happen. And I hope I'm wrong, but people have had enough, especially you put in these migrants, these gangs, these rapists, these killers. And I'm telling you, the good old boys, they can't wait till they get the signal. They can't. Thunder says, if they do unite as a group and do something about the migrant problem, do you think they will stop at just them? Or I'm reaching too much into this? Well, I know where you're going with that. And why, if it was you and you were the leader, it's kind of like Desert Storm. You have an opportunity to remove Saddam, but you don't do it. So you end up having 10, 15 years later to have to do it again. So yeah, here's my thing. I never underestimate my enemy. I never underestimate my enemy. Never. Right now, because in this country, excluding the Native Americans, because they are their nation within a nation, they have treaties. They're not in this. They're not in this. They have their land. They're not in this. This country is predominantly Black and white. It's foundation. And so Black and white have lived together for a long time, be it in a subservient, servient role, right? Just the way it is. Not saying it's right. That's just the way it's always been. I believe, as we did during the Civil War, we will unite for the common good of removing one problem. Only once that problem is removed, then we will start looking at each other. And it's just like Malcolm X said, and I think this is one of the biggest problems of the civil rights movement. You can't walk up to a man non-violently and he's got a club in his hand. That's ridiculous because he's not worried about you. But if you got a club and I got a club, just like Malcolm X said, there's some understanding there, right? If you got a weapon and I got a weapon, there's some understanding there. Nonverbal language. We understand what could happen here, right? That's what I think is going to happen. We're going to have some nonverbal understanding of the situation, you know? So yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen. And I unfortunately, the most unprepared group of a situation like that is Black women. These independent Black women. Hey, be independent all you want. The fact of the matter is, you don't need no man. I bet you're going to need one when this kicks off. The Rock says, Donovan, how many years did you serve and what rank did you retire at? I did 4 years at the Naval Academy and 24 in the Navy, bro. Right on, Naval Academy. I did not go to the academy. I went to the junior academy. I did 8 years enlisted, got my community college of the Air Force degree. Then I went to Embry-Riddle and I got my commission, got my degree in professional aeronautics, got my commission through the Air National Guard up in Alaska. And I ended up retiring as a major, 04. So 24 years in, done. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. C-130 pilot, C-17 pilot, C-141, all the cargo, mostly cargo. But anyway, Kerman says, good point about the Desert Storm. Could have removed him the first time, right? And The Rock, thank you for your service. The Naval Academy, you could have gone unless you had a direct naval appointment, because that's where the Marine Corps comes from too. So Montel Williams, he was a naval graduate. Then he went to the Marine Corps. Because my dad, he was a Marine Corps aviator, enlisted, C-130s. So I didn't really know about how the Marine Corps like officers work, but thank you for your service. Trust me. Yeah. Thunder says it's like what General Patton said about the Russians. We're already here. Why not? Exactly. Donovan, what do you think about David Serpa for Congress? Okay, David Serpa, he's the Marine that's running against Mark Takano, I believe. I'm all for him. I went to that. You must have saw the video that I put up. I saw him. Look, I don't care at this point. Everybody that is in position right now needs to go. And I think if you're going to be on the Veterans Affairs Board, you need to be a veteran yourself or have served in the military. So it's kind of crazy that, you got this gay man that knows nothing about the military and he's on the Veterans Affairs Board, does everything for the LGBTQ community, only mentions veterans when it's time for election. So he needs to go. And by the way, I worked on Mark Takano's staff when he first ran for Congress. And he did everything he said he wouldn't do. And that's when I stopped working for him. When he ran for re-election and didn't do the things that he said he was going to do, I knew I had a career politician. The Rock says, Donovan, I also joined the Marines and graduated top of my class and was appointed to the Naval Academy by my commanding officer. Okay, got you. Okay, got it. Yeah. I was supposed to be a Marine. My dad dropped my brother and I off at the Marine Corps recruiting station, and they could not guarantee me aviation. And my brother, he became a Marine, Hollywood Marine, down here in San Diego. And my dad comes back from a mission. Hadn't seen him in 3 weeks. My dad comes back and he says, okay, where are you going? You going to Paris Island? You going to San Diego? My brother goes, I'm going to San Diego. Dad's proud. He's happy, whatever, and we're happy because we're mostly a Marine. My mom's in the Army. Dad's happy, whatever. He says, what about you? I said, I'm going to Texas. I did not know anything about the Air Force other than the jokes my dad and his, Navy Marine friends would say about the Air Force. Oh, those guys are faggots, and, blah, blah, blah. The typical thing, and being a Navy Marine kid, let's face it, the infrastructure for the family wasn't the greatest back in the day. I mean, we got what was left because the Marine is not issued a family. They're not issued that. And so looking at the Air Force kids, how they had a brand new school, they had grass to play on, all that stuff, I said, I'm going to go over there. And then out of all the recruiters, the only one that did not bug me was the Air Force recruiter. And so I went over there. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse, $2,000, brand new aircraft to work on. I started as an aircraft mechanic on a KC-10, which is now in the museums now. They retired them all this year. And it was a different world because I knew nothing about, the Air Force. I was all Marine Corps. A good example would be General Peterson, the first 3-star Marine Corps general, right? General Peterson. He was the commanding general over in Okinawa, where I went to high school. I went to high school with his daughter. And so, that's Marine Corps history. Peterson was the man, big, tall. So a lot of history there. And then when they found out I joined the Air Force, man, I got the biggest ribbing ever. So pretty good, though. Hey, Yanni, thanks for tuning in. Cooking with Miss D, she says, thank you all the brave men who served in the military. Brave men and the women. 13% of the Air Force is women, and it's the most women out of all the services. So Army has some nice ones in there, too. And if you find a female Marine, I'm talking about the ones that are like, anyway, don't get me started there. I ran into one in Iwakuni. But anyway, let's see. Donovan, what were the promises that Takano did not keep as your congressman? I can't remember back then, but I knew he was full of shit. And so I left the campaign. I mean, it was just once he got elected and it was time to do a re-election, he had nothing to show for it. It was all gay, 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 gay. And I'm not, you know, I get tired of people having to apologize or try to reference, they're anti this or they're not against this, whatever. Hey, hell with that. He was gay, 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 gay. And I'm not, for that lifestyle. That isn't something that I kick off. I don't have a problem with people being who they are and loving who they want to love. But no, sorry, I'm not going to apologize for being a Christian. I'm not going to do it. My family and their children are Air Force. I was PD. Okay. Thunder says, I've been getting extra water and food just in case. Have you ever tried a French MRE? They are top tier, 3 Michelin stars all the way. Try if you ever get the chance. Man, when I was in Desert Storm, that number 4, the egg omelet, oh, man, we had whole pallets of that stuff packed up because nobody wanted it. Well, you take the dehydrated stuff out of eating. That was good, but you left the egg omelet. Yeah, so, but I wanted you guys to look at that video. I didn't mean to be on this long, but it's been about an hour. I just wanted to let you guys know that is the issue. Do not let these Democrats tell you the BS in regards to we need to vote for more Democrats is why you can't get anything done. They can't do this. They can't do that. We got to vote more Democratic senators. We got to do all this. It's bullshit. California has a super majority. We and black people still ain't getting nothing. So it's bull. And notice, not on the national level, not one of the CBC members has said a word about what happened here in California. Not a word. So Michael says, Donovan, were you surprised when David Serpa said, I support higher taxes on those who make more than $6 million a year and raise the rate at 94? Do you agree with him on that statement? Hey, whatever it takes. I mean, if you're making $6 million, what's going to be the difference? I'm at the bottom. It shouldn't affect me. I mean, I don't pay taxes anyway because I'm tax exempt. So it is what it is. So, but anyway, you guys have a good night. I'm not saying give up. I'm not saying don't keep trying. What I am saying is you need to get down to your city council. You need to get down and to your assembly member town halls, your congressman's town halls, and let your feelings be felt. The problem with black people is we get a boot in our ass and then we say more, please. That's our biggest problem. Even though there's not a lot of black people left in California, where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? There's not enough of us to do anything. And this is where they got us now. They've got us over a barrel. And they're going to give it to us with no Vaseline. And for my ladies, again, I'm going to warn you guys, you have less than 30 days to arm yourselves because we don't know what's going to happen. And it's not just the election. It's with these rogue illegal gangs running around here. When they see women that are vulnerable, do you guys actually think grown men are intimidated by big black women or just women in general? They're not. When it comes to survival of the fittest, they're not. These are going to be the guys that are going to kick in your door, tell you and your family to leave. Then what do you do? Here in California, you've got so many Hispanics running around breaking the law. There are no black police officers to make a difference. There are no white police officers to make a difference. These Hispanics, they're not arresting each other. They're not doing it. They're not going to do it. So use California as a template to what's happening in your neighborhood. Don't forget to check me out tomorrow, Demetra K, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You guys tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk. I don't know what we're going to talk about. She saw the Kamala Harris interview. More word salad. So I don't know what we're going to talk about, but tune in tomorrow and we'll see you guys there. Before I go, Thunder says, right now the Dems are running scared and now they are finally admitting that they will need to address the new black media. Keep doing the work, brother. I'm going to try, but guess what? I got other things going on in my life. I could be on the beach in the DR with my nice Mai Tai or in Hawaii somewhere, but I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to do what I can. I've been doing it for 8 years. A couple more years is not going to hurt, right? You guys have a good night. Be safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Dimitri K Show. Tune in, share, like, and subscribe. You guys have a good night.